नहीं हो जाएगा,
टाइम से हो पाएगा सर?
हो जाएगा, हो जाएगा.
पक्का?
If Guru Randhawa can score 329, so they can score.
सिंगर गुरु रंधावा?
No, one of my students. Hello everyone, I am Pankaj Kumar. Welcome to the last video you need to watch before you start with your GRE preparation. Before we start with the exam pattern, let's talk about what exactly GRE exam is. GRE is a standardized test which is widely used by grad school admissions in US and Canada. This is one of the key requirements when you apply for Masters and MBA programs. There are two types of GRE exams. One is GRE Journal Test and one is GRE Subject Test. GRE Subject Test is specially taken by those students who want to specialize in physics, chemistry, maths and psychology. GRE Journal Test is taken by all the students who want to apply for any Masters program. So now, the question is, who can take GRE? That's an easy one because anyone can take GRE because there is no age limit and no minimum qualification. Universities that accept GRE scores have different range of eligibility criteria, but that's a question for another day. Right now the question is how much GRE cost, and that is just 18,500 rupees. The most interesting thing about GRE exam is you can take it whenever you want. There is no limit over that. You can take as many times as you want, but there is a limit to 5 times in a year. But the interesting thing is you can cancel or reschedule your exam few days before the exam date, but that will cost you $50. Here comes the most important part of the video, that is exam pattern. Exam consists of 3 things. One is AWA, we call it Analytical Writing Assessment, quantitative and verbal part. Let's talk about these things one by one. In Analytical Writing Assessment, you'll be writing essays, giving your point of view in favor or against the argument. In verbal, GRE tests you on logical interpretation of English language through reading comprehension, critical reasoning, and sentence equivalence questions. Now we have quantitative reasoning section. In this, GRE will be testing you on conceptual understanding by solving problems through mathematical models. In this, you'll be using calculator to solve the problems and getting answers. Let's just move on to the next part because here we're going to talk about how verbal and quant is placed into sections in front of you. Because this exam is going to be 4 hours long approximately, including a 10-minute break. Let's talk about how sections will be placed. The first thing is going to appear, which is AWA, Analytical Writing Assessment. Here you'll be writing 2 essays, 30 minutes each, and the scoring for this is going to be separately, which is 0 to 6, because the complete GRE score is a combination of 2 scores. One is AWA score, which is Analytical Writing Assessment score, and the second is the quant and verbal combined score, that is out of 340. After AWA, the next thing is going to be 5 subsections, combination of quantitative and verbal. But in this part, you'll be answering 2 quant sections and 2 verbal sections, and 1 unscored section. So what exactly the unscored section is going to be? One unscored section is going to be either quant or verbal, which means in the final examination, you'll be answering 3 quant, 2 verbal, or 2 quant, 3 verbal. But that one extra section from either quant or verbal is going to be unscored, which means you will not be marked on any of those questions that you have answered in unscored section. In each quant section, you'll be answering 20 questions and you'll get 35 minutes to solve the problems. While in verbal, you'll be answering 20 questions in 30 minutes. Now, here comes the most important part of the exam. All the 5 sections going to be section adaptive. So how does this section adaptive works? Section adaptive says, if you have performed well in the first section, the second section is going to be tougher, or you can say on a higher difficulty level than the previous one. And similarly, the same goes in the verbal. Now, interesting thing is, in which order they actually going to appear. Verbal, quant can appear in any order. It doesn't matter in which order you're answering. Section adaptive works quant to quant and verbal to verbal. Now, here comes the biggest question. How is GRE scored? Because there are 2 things. One is AWA, which is Analytical Writing Assessment, and the other is quantitative and verbal reasoning. AWA is scored from 0 to 6, and combined score of quantitative and verbal is out of 340. Here comes a very obvious question. What is a good score? Top universities, if I count on, the average verbal score is 160 plus and average quant score is 165 plus. Well, we have covered a lot in this video. No one else can tell you more about the test till you take one sample test on your own. There's one link in the description below and it's free. No other reason to not take it now. Until then, take care, stay tuned with Jamboree for more such videos.